वेक्टर के बारे में डिफिनीशन हमने यहाँ पे देख ली थी, लास्ट लेक्चर में भी देखी हुई थी. नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट व्हाट वी विल स्टडी इन वेक्टर्स. What will be the topic? Because we will not study scalar separately, because scalar is not a chapter, but in vectors you have to study different terms. The sequence will be, first one is definition and types. Is there any lag with the screen? Any lag?
Yes, sir.
Types of vectors. अभी सही हो जाएगा. Types of vector and definition. Second, magnitude and direction. Third one is addition of vectors. Fourth one is equal. Resultant of vectors. Triangle. The fifth one is product of vectors. Dot and cross product. Okay, so that's all about vector. First one we will go through the definition, okay, and types of vectors. Second one, magnitude and direction. Third, addition of vectors, parallel shifting. Fourth, resultant of vectors and triangle law. Fifth one is product of vectors. Okay, so just note down the sequence. So first we will start with the definition. देखो, there are some axes, बचपन से पढ़ा हुआ कि एक्सेस कुछ होती हैं. ये पढ़ा होगा that this is x axis, this is y axis, है ना, पढ़ा होगा ना. This is minus x axis, this is minus y axis, but there is another axis. This is about 2D. Whatever diagram you can draw on your copy or on your laptop or any 2D plane. Whenever you are able to draw any diagram on a plane, because like a board, for example, in a classroom you have a board. The board is 2D. So if you are able to draw anything on a board, that is a 2D figure. But suppose if you are having any real object in your hand, like your book or pen or anything, that will be having a 3D dimension, because it will be having x, y dimension, as well as third dimension is not the third dimension, it is the third length, that is the z axis. This is z and this is minus z, because any real object will be having just a minute, it will be having along with the length and breadth, it will also be having height, so it will be having 3 dimensions. For example, any cube, it's a real object because it is having a structure. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and it is also having some dimension or length along z-axis. So this is z, x, y, and z. So any real object will be having a 3D structure. So you have to take any and another axis, that is z axis. This z axis is coming out of your screen because x and y axis are in the plane, and this z axis is coming out of the plane. Okay, it is just perpendicular to your plane. ये plane के perpendicular है. इस तरीके से we denote axis because we will be requiring this axis to locate a point in 3D space. Clear? Is it clear? But you have to draw the axis like this only. इसको ऐसे मत कर देना that ऐसे कर दिया, पता चला ऐसे बना दिया, because this is the standard axis. This one is standard axis, x, y and z. But if you talk about this, ये ऐसे बना दिया, इसको y बना दिया, इसको x बना दिया, इसको z. So this is incorrect. This is incorrect. This is the standard axis. Draw like this है ना, same standard चलेगा हर जगह. So बना लो. चलो next. So what do we mean by vector? A vector will be having two component. You have to, whenever you denote a vector, you have to put a sign like this arrow. A vector will be having two components. One is magnitude and another is direction. We call it magnitude. This one we call it magnitude. And this one is unit vector, and we call it direction vector. This gives only direction, you know. This gives only direction. For example, I gave in last lecture I gave a very simple example. I don't know that I gave you that. मैं फिर से बता देता हूँ. Suppose if you are having a cannon, artillery, and if you want to fire the shell is having its own velocity. Not velocity. Shell is able to come out of the muzzle with the speed of 200 meter per second. So 200 meter per second, its magnitude. It's the magnitude of the shell. And if you rotate this cannon, so that means you are changing the direction. If you rotate like this, the shell will go in another direction. Okay, in this direction. So you are changing the direction. So whenever you change the direction, so that means you are changing this one. So this unit vector will give you the direction. Okay, but this is the magnitude. The speed of the shell is its magnitude. Okay, but when you give the direction to this magnitude, that will become the velocity. So whenever you change the direction, so that means you are changing the direction, and whenever you change the direction, you will get the different velocity. Okay, so a vector is comprised of two components. One is magnitude and another is unit vector. So magnitude is a scalar part. And direction vector gives you the direction. Its magnitude is 1. Whenever you calculate the magnitude of a unit vector, it is always 1, because the role of unit vector is just to give the direction, and the role of magnitude is to give the magnitude to the vector. Okay, so vector will be made up of two things. One is magnitude and another is unit vector. Clear? Is it clear? बोलो भाई, clear है?
Yes sir.
A vector will be made up of two components. One is magnitude and another is unit vector. The role of unit vector is to give the direction, and the role of magnitude is just to give the magnitude to the vector, because magnitude of unit vector will be clear. चलो इसको ड्रॉ कर लो. तो ये आपके डायरेक्शन वेक्टर होंगे. When you talk about plus x direction, the unit vector along plus x direction will be plus I cap. When you talk about minus x direction, the unit vector along minus x direction will be minus I cap. In the same way, for y direction, there will be plus j and minus j, For z direction, it will be plus k and minus k. You have to remember this, that whenever you talk about the axis, you have to take this direction. Okay, और unit vector ऐसे ही रहेगा, plus I, plus j, plus k. In the same way, minus I, minus j, minus k. Clear? Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
चलो
सर एक और बार रिपीट करो ना.
बेटा x डायरेक्शन को प्लस i, माइनस x को माइनस i कैप, y को प्लस j, माइनस y को माइनस j कैप. ठीक है, z को प्लस के कैप माइनस z को माइनस के कैप, है ना। बस ये बताना है I j k आर द यूनिट वेक्टर इन x y एंड z एक्सिस। क्लियर? चलो नोट करो, यहाँ पे नोट करो। नाउ वी विल टेक इन कंसिडरेशन मैग्नीट्यूड and unit vector. So when you talk about unit vectors, so unit vector is just a simple direction vector, okay. A vector having only magnitude with direction with magnitude equals to equals to 1. Yeah, simple say yes and not for magnitude with the sign equals to 1. Okay. So whenever you take a vector, its unit vector, its role is just to provide the direction. The magnitude will always be equals to 1. And what about the magnitude? What about the magnitude? It is total intensity of a vector. It may be length. इंटेंसिटी का मतलब यहाँ समझ लेना, इट मे बी लेंथ, फोर्स और एनीथिंग taken as a vector, How we take the vector length? For example, if you draw a cube, अगर यहाँ पे क्यूब बनाए, पहले मुझे ये बताओ, if I draw a cube, this one, so that is different. If I draw a triangle, whenever you draw axis, अगर आपने इस पे बनाया 2D पे, if you draw a triangle, suppose if you are taking a vector, for example, first vector is this is a vector, another vector is along y direction is this one. So according to Pythagoras theorem, what will be the resultant? This one. क्या होगा बताओ? क्या होगा? This is A, this length is A, and this length is B. So what will be the length C? According to Pythagoras theorem, बताओ. What will be C? क्या होता था Pythagoras के हिसाब से?
Root of a square plus b square.
C is equals to root of a square plus b square, isn't it? Is it correct? As per Pythagoras theorem. यही होता है ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this vector,
Yes,
sir. Is having two parts. One is along x-axis and another is along y-axis. So this C vector, when you talk about the C vector, this C vector is equals to AI, because we are moving in plus x direction, so we will take I. So A is magnitude and I is the direction, plus I direction. Then the second one is BJ cap. Okay, so that's all about the vector in 2D. We are taking this in 2D. This is the vector in 2D because it is having two components. One is along I direction and another is along J direction. So AI plus BJ. So that is the C vector. Clear? Is it clear? बोलो भाई.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Note it
Yes.
down.
Yes.
Then after that, we will take consideration of this cube and we will take the resultant magnitude of a 3D vector. Clear? इसको note कर लो. Suppose if you are having only x and y direction. This example. फिर से लेते हैं. This one. For example, if you move a magnitude in x direction, so what will be the c vector? C vector will be you have moved a magnitude in plus I direction. Clear? And you have moved b magnitude in y direction, so that will be your bj. Clear? B is your magnitude and j is your direction. So this is your vector. This is your vector part. But when you talk about the magnitude only, so we will only take the length, not the vector, not the component of vectors in vector form. Okay? So this C vector will be having two component A and B. And now we will take the resultant or magnitude by just a Pythagoras theorem. So what will be the length of C? What will be the length of C? As per Pythagoras theorem, it will be A square plus B square under root. So that is the magnitude. That is the magnitude of C. So magnitude of C is the length of C. Magnitude of C is the length of C. You can find out this length using Pythagoras theorem. So when you are having any vector and you have to calculate the magnitude, this is simple A square plus B square. Simple the calculation of hypotenuse using Pythagoras theorem. Simple calculation. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? But when you have to write this vector, you have to take I and j cap. है ना? Direction के साथ you have to write. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
Yes, sir.
Clear?
So that A I cap part, is that the unit vector?
A is the magnitude, this is the magnitude, mag, and this is the unit vector, I cap, unit vector. Clear? Same
But
way.
so one quantity will be its magnitude and direction both, right? So the magnitude of C is root of A square plus B square.
Magnitude of C is root A square plus B square, yeah. But vector is A I cap plus B j cap. Okay? Clear, beta?
So
Now we will take this example with the help of cube. This is that was the only 2D vector. This is a 2D vector because it was having only x and y direction, 2D vector. But if we take the example of 3D vector, it will be having x as well as z direction. Clear? So this is the x direction, this is y direction, and this is z direction. Suppose this is origin, you have moved A along x direction. This is the origin. You have moved A along x direction. Along x direction A. This is A. So this vector is A. Next is B vector along y direction. We will only take magnitude, है ना? Magnitude ले लो यहाँ पे, नहीं तो गड़बड़ कर दो. So this is A and this is B. And then along z direction you have moved C. कितना? C. Simple sum. So what will be the net displacement vector? What will be the net displacement vector? कैसा बनेगा? It will be like this. Whenever you connect the initial and final dot, you will get the final vector. ये आएगा आपका. This is the final vector. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? Connect the initial point with the final point. This is the final point and this is the initial point. When you connect these two dots, you will get the final vector. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? For example, this vector is A vector. For example, this vector is A vector. So what will be the A vector? A vector is, देखना यहाँ पे ध्यान से, A vector is, you have moved A magnitude along I direction, then B magnitude along J direction, put the cap, then C magnitude along plus J direction, plus Z direction, plus Z. So C magnitude above plus K direction. Clear? Is it clear? This is plus I, this is plus J, this is plus K. Clear hai? Is it clear? बोलो, clear है?
Okay.
चलो. So A I plus BJ plus CK. So that's all about this vector. Now when you have to calculate the magnitude, इसको बताओ, इसको पाइथागोरस से कैसे करेंगे? इसको एक बार सोच के बताओ कि किस तरीके से पाइथागोरस से इसको कर सकते हो. This is A, this is B. Approach will be first calculate this one. A square plus B square ऐसे पाएगा आपका diagonal. And then C. ठीक है? तो you are having 2 minutes to calculate the magnitude of this A vector. आप अपने घर का क्यूब भी देख सकते हो, that the room in which you are, है ना, उसको एक बार देख के कैसे कर सकते हैं, imagine करो. फिर मुझे बताओ how we will calculate the magnitude of this A vector. ठीक है? 2 मिनट है आपके पास. देखो, when you take this one, A vector and C vector, if you take the Pythagoras, so this magnitude will be coming this one. This is the phase diagonal. So A and C, they are making 90 degree. So magnitude of this diagonal will be A square plus C square, simple. And now in this triangle, you are having root A square plus C square and this one B. Okay. So this A vector will be having the magnitude that is equal to, when you open this root, this is square plus this is square. So that will be A square plus C square plus B square ka under root. So when you open this, the magnitude will be simple. You just have to take the square of all terms. A square plus B square plus C square. Simple. ठीक है? A square plus B square plus C square. So that will be the magnitude of A vector. Clear? I am repeating this again. This is the phase diagonal. This is A, this is C. So in this triangle, the length of this hypotenuse will be, or phase diagonal will be, A square plus C square under root. This one is B. So in this triangle, the magnitude of this vector will be this phase diagonal square plus this B square ka under root. So the answer will be this. Is it clear?
So, but it's not a right angle triangle. It's not a right angle triangle, no? So why are we...
It is right angle triangle. This one is right angle triangle, beta. This is making angle 90 degree.
So, and the diagram you drew before for that?
This one?
No, sir, where the C vector was on the upper side.
This
one? The
one
you drew before. No, sir, you modified this one, right? Before that, you drawn a different diagram.
ये वाला बता रहे थे initially that we were taking like this. अरे that is nothing. Whether you take C first or B first doesn't matter. है ना, वो देखने में easy लग रहा है. That's why I modified this one. Clear?
Yeah, sir.
So, sir, the A vector is nothing but the diagonal of the cuboid, right? Because under root A square plus B square plus C square.
देखो, a cuboid will be having different diagonals. There will be how many faces? 6 faces. So in each face you will be having 2 diagonal. In each face you will be having 2 diagonal, phase diagonal. So there are 2 phase diagonal. So that means in a cube you will be having 12 phase diagonal. On each face you will be having 2 phase diagonal. So the number of phase diagonal will be 12 because there will be 6 faces. Clear? Clear?
Yes.
And when you talk about the body diagonal, this is the body diagonal. This one is body diagonal. So there will be 4 body diagonal. This is one diagonal, another is this one, another is this one, another is this one. So in a cube you will be having 4 body diagonal and 6 into 2 face diagonal. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sure.
हाँ सर.
नेक्स्ट चलो
So,
बताओ क्या है आंसर. The length of body diagonal is
Square root 3 into a.
body diagonal is simple. It's root 3a. And what about face diagonal?
Root 2a.
Simple. Yeah, it's simple. So this is your face diagonal. When you talk about the face diagonal, you have to take two edges, a square plus a square. But when you have to calculate the body diagonal, you have to take all the three edges, a square plus a square plus a square. Clear? ठीक है?
आंसर इसका वेक्टर क्या है ना?
Vector will depend that which diagonal you are taking, because there will be different body diagonals. One is this, one is this, one is this. So it depends which diagonal you are taking in consideration. Okay. So the vector will depend that which direction you are taking. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So could you repeat body diagonal and face diagonal?
Beta, the diagonal which you are getting on a face, this one, suppose for a face you are having these two diagonals, and like this you will be having 6 faces. So the total number of face diagonal will be, in each face you are having 2 diagonals. So the face diagonal, number of face diagonal will be 2 into 6. Okay, 2 into 6. But this is the body diagonal, this one. If you connect this dot to this one, so this is the body diagonal. Clear? There will be 4 in the number. अपने रूम में देखो ना, if you connect the opposite diagonals, there will be 4. कितने होता है ये? 4. समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Note it down. Done? बेटा हो गया?
Yes, sir.
चलो. So at this position now you are able to tell that what is vector and what is scalar. So for example, if I give you a question that a man walks 50 meter in plus x direction, then 30 meter in minus y direction, then 80 meter in plus z direction. So you have to tell the what will be the position vector. Find position vector starting from origin. क्या है? What will be the position vector starting from the origin? So what will be the answer? पता क्या होगा? if you move, we are starting from the origin. So if you move 50 meter in plus x direction, so what will be the position vector? First you move 50 meter in plus I cap. Is it correct? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Then 30
Yes, sir.
meter in minus y, so that is minus 30 j cap. Then 80 meter in plus z direction, so 80 meter plus k cap. This is simple है ना, बहुत simple होगा, इतना मुश्किल नहीं है कि vector just shows you the direction that you move 50 meter in x direction, 30 meter in minus y direction, and 80 meter in plus z. Clear? And what will be the magnitude of this vector? What will be the magnitude of this vector? This will be 50 square plus 30 square plus 80 square. You will not take this minus sign because we are just taking the magnitude. So the length will be this. Clear? Is it correct? बोलो भाई.
Yes, sir.
मुश्किल तो नहीं लग रहा है?
No, sir.
सर ये पूरा वो कैसे आया ये मैग्नीट्यूड?
बेटा
बट यार स्क्वायर क्यों ले रहे हो?
वही तो ले रहे हैं ना. दिस वन क्या किया था यहाँ पे? a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर प्लस c स्क्वायर है ना?
तो सर ये डिस्टेंस हुआ ना?
नहीं ये डिस्टेंस नहीं, दिस इज अ डिस्प्लेसमेंट. If you take the magnitude, what you will do, 50 square plus minus 30 square plus 80 square. Doesn't matter you take minus or plus, because when you square this minus sign, you will get the same answer, that this one. 50 square. The minus of this minus with the square, it will become plus. Okay. So this is the magnitude of displacement. And suppose if you talk about the distance, what will be the distance? The distance is simple. First you moved it 50 meter, then you moved 30 meter, then you moved 80 meter. Clear? So the distance is 160 meter. But when you talk about the displacement will be the magnitude of this position vector. So that is equals to this one. Root 50 square plus 30 square plus 80 square. Clear? Clear? Clear है?
Yes, sir.
चलो note it down. Note करो.
So we don't have to. अच्छा, okay.
आगे बढ़े. Another example. रहने तो अभी नहीं कर पाओगे. ये आपका हो गया this one. So when I talk about the magnitude and unit vector, already written that a vector is made up of two components. It is made up of two components. One is magnitude and another is direction. Clear? Is it clear? So whenever I write, मेरी आवाज आ रही है बेटा?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So whenever I write a vector, simply ai plus bj plus ck cap. So what will be the magnitude? What will be the magnitude? It's a square plus b square plus c square under. Simple. Is it correct? Is it correct? Whenever you put a mod, देखो this sign is magnitude. This sign is of magnitude, है ना? This tells you that what will be the magnitude. But the mod will be having the same sign. Whenever you put the mod across any quantity, for example, if you put the mod across 3, you will get 3. If you put mod across -3, still you will get 3. So whenever you put a mod, that will give only magnitude, है ना? No sign is required. Clear? Is it clear? Clear है? बोलो बेटा, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
चलो.
Yeah, sir.
And what will be the unit vector? What will be the unit vector? This will be a vector divided by the magnitude. So the a unit vector will be equals to ai cap plus b j cap प्लस सी के कैप। ये हो सकता है दैट मैं आगे कहीं पे कैप लगाना भूल जाऊं, है ना, तो हो भी सकता है, बट आप इतना आगे आपको पता होना चाहिए दैट आई जे के आर यूनिट वेक्टर्स, है ना, so you have to put this cap always, है ना, a square plus b square plus c square. So when you have to calculate the unit vector, you can easily find it out using this. Simple सा है, कुछ है ही नहीं इसमें। Clear? Is it clear?
Yes sir.
Sure. जल्दी से नोट करो। ये इसको you can solve this as a homework, करके ला सकते हो। सिंपल क्वेश्चन है, कुछ नहीं। आई एम गिविंग यू वेक्टर्स, फाइंड ए वेक्टर क्या, मैग्नीट्यूड एंड यूनिट वेक्टर, यू हैव टू फाइंड बोथ। फर्स्ट वन इज ए वेक्टर इज 2i minus 3j plus 5k cap. Second one is 3i plus 5j plus 8k cap. Third one is I minus 3k plus 5j cap. Fourth one is I minus plus 2j plus 3k cap. And fifth one is 2i plus 8j minus 13k cap. So what you have to do, you have to calculate magnitude as well as direction. Clear? अभी ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ा रहे हैं because your FT is live. अभी आप उसका तैयारी कर रहे हो, इससे बहुत ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन नहीं दे रहे, बहुत ज़्यादा कंटेंट भी नहीं पढ़ा रहे आफ्टर द एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ फिलिंग. In next lecture we will take the discussion of your FT because it will be on Saturday ना. Saturday को तो complete हो जाएगा आपका FT का लिंक, है कि नहीं?
Yes sir.
So on Saturday doubt class we will take the discussion of FT. Clear? चलो जितना
So in the last question, the fifth one, you have written minus 13k cap, right?
Yeah, this is 13. This one is 13.
Okay sir.
Okay. आप थ्योरी यही रखेंगे, we are stopping the theory lecture.